question you have to answer.
Well, I mean, it's going to be impossible to say. We have seen them play, as you just said yourself, the meta picks. First of all, most likely going to see quite a lot of bans towards Cabochard. Once again, Fnatic is a team that likes to leave a lot of strong picks open because they can play all of them themselves and then target ban towards individual players. Last time they faced Gambit as well, it was just camp Cabochard in the early game almost all. Yeah, the first 15-20 minutes.
And yesterday, if memory serves, the Yasuo was banned out towards Gambit. Not something we've seen run before, but
True.
we were expecting that to be maybe a scrim champion or a solo queue champion.
Must have been.
And let's quickly catch up. So Shen, Fizz, Rise, all off the table for the effective top laners, as well as Rek'Sai and now Betsy's Ahri.
Okay, Betsy had Ahri last time, and it's been one of the few champions where he's been able to win his lane. Same goes for yesterday. And it is one of those where he can snowball. And therefore, Fnatic just plays it super safe, bans it away again. There's a lot of strong picks open, Olaf being banned away. It's been the funny thing for Reignover, he has 3 tier 1 junglers as the only guy in Europe. Because he has that Olaf up there with the Rekkles and Gragas, at least for him. Gragas is open, will Fnatic first pick it?
Ekko's open, Kalista's open, Sivir's open.
Just remember, you don't necessarily have to take that Kalista early on. Even Sivir could go through. I want to see Febiven play it, because he did last time. We know he can take Sivir. It could fit really well with what Gambit wants to do. Push up the lanes, then group up to 5-on-5 team fights. I mean, that would fit in perfectly for Gambit.
It was an uninspiring performance at 1-2-1 the last time Febiven ran it. However, if you're not grouping with your team and the team is falling behind, it's difficult to get the utmost. Fnatic using a lot of time to decide what their first pick will be, considering how many champions are available.
Right.
Their final lock-in, it is going to be the Gragas considering the jungle bans.
And again, you also have to consider, if you're a Fnatic, okay, do we want to risk Gambit taking the likes of Kalista? Do we just expect them to not play it? It was the same yesterday for Origin. Turned out they got everything. Alistar first pick, Kalista later. Gragas is very, very standard. When 2 junglers has been banned away, he's obviously left as the tier 1 jungler. We know Diamond likes to play in Italy, but it's not always we like to see him play in Italy.
I particularly don't like to see it. Yesterday had a pretty unimpressive performance. Not really in the right place at the right time. What will they prioritize today? So it was the Sivir is locked in, and Betsy will get his hands on Azir. Also denying that from Febiven.
Yeah, I really like this from Gambit. We go back to more standard. Sivir can be such a good pick for them, even though they know it's going to be into a Kalista. That's what they're expecting at least. Just for the team fights in the mid game, because what Gambit does really well is getting down these early towers, strong laning phase all around. But then once these outer turrets are gone, it's like Gambit just stops. Like they don't know how to advance to the tier 2 towers. They don't really know how to get to that Baron. And that's where they tend to struggle quite a lot against the better teams. Sivir can help Azir take away from Febiven. Also champion Betsy can perform with more team fight presence on. He's not relying on having to snowball the laning phase, as we often see when he plays Ahri.
And of course for Fnatic, as we've mentioned, that Ekko was up, as is Rumble, as is Hecarim. Huni's going to have a lot of options for whatever he wants to run in that top lane. Febiven, what is he going to play into this Azir? We've sort of seen the Vladimir into Azir as the... I don't want to use the word counter, because it's not really counter, but as a reply pick.
Yeah.
But do Fnatic want to run a Vladimir, or does Febiven want to play something safer? Jayce, we saw the hover, and we saw it played yesterday as well.
Yeah, and it was a fantastic performance. He's the first guy who really showed how strong Jayce can be here in 5-11, so I love his performance on that one. Ekko obviously can go to the mid lane. It is a flex pick, even though Huni has the guy who's been playing it from for Fnatic here. But yeah, I mean, when you have a team that plays every single meta champion, every single champion that's considered tier 1 in the current meta, against Gambit, who's, you know, been a bit hit and miss in that department, you see Fnatic just say, you know, we're just going to leave almost everything open because we know we can get close to every single one of the picks, at least in the first 3 picks for themselves, and that's what they have here. Ekko, Gragas, Kalista. I mean, it's insane for Fnatic.
So we do see Diamond has locked in that Lee Sin. Going back to a champion again, he's not played this summer, but Diamond made quite a name for himself on Lee Sin many, many moons ago. That was a different version of Diamondprox. Diamond in summer this year, a shadow of his former presence. Cabochard on Hecarim yesterday didn't find the opportunities. His team didn't really... actually all of Gambit didn't find an opportunity for Cabochard's Hecarim to get those teleport engages yesterday. Let's see if they can do it a little bit better with the Sivir, with the Azir. They've got more tools to play with.
I want to talk about their potential support option coming in for Fnatic. If they don't go for the Alistar, even though they can go Alistar Kalista, to me, it really tells me they want to have a strong 2v2 lane so they can put Huni one-on-one against Cabochard, potentially with this Ekko here, because that matchup is... It can be fairly tricky in the start for the Ekko, but once you start getting some items, that's where you start outscaling the Hecarim in the one-on-one, and you can become a really strong split pusher. So Fnatic not going for Alistar despite it being open, simply because they want to have the possibility to take the 2v2 lane against Febiven. It was a lane they lost last time they faced each other, but Rekkles also played Ezreal, and he was playing extremely passive. The plan was basically sit and farm while we camp Cabochard over and over. He's now playing a champion with no flash. So that might be the strategy once again for Fnatic.
Yeah, and for Fnatic, they have rounded out their team composition. A lot of peel and kiting. A little bit of poke there from, well, a lot of poke from Jayce, actually. As well as that Time Winder from Ekko in Huni's hands. The amount of zone control that Fnatic will have with that Ekko parallel convergence, with Janna, even with Gragas barrels. We'll see if Gambit's engage with Sivir and Hecarim can get ahead. Because if Fnatic fall behind, Gambit have the tools to keep punishing.
Yeah, that's the thing when you have that Sivir. You can always control the tempo of the game because you have that ability to really force team fights or quick rotations. Gambit not going Alistar either want more hard engage because they see, okay, Fnatic here, we need to get to that Jayce here. We need to be able to catch Rekkles on Kalista in the back line. So we need more tools to get there. Alistar could have done it as well, but they feel like they want that instant stun coming in from GoSu Pepper and Annie. So Gambit, very all-in composition. Only real safety in that case is going to be the Azir, but he can even play very aggressive himself if he finds an opening.
What I like about these two team compositions is they both have the tools to defeat their opponents. Gambit have got enough hard engage to get through the poke and the disengage from Fnatic if they get ahead. For Fnatic, they have enough poke and disengage that if they get ahead, they can deal with the engage. So I feel the early game, the first 10, 15 minutes is going to be so crucial for both of these teams.
Will always be important for Gambit. They are a team that still relies on that laning phase. They have players like Cabochard and Febiven who shine in that phase of the game. The top teams in Europe, they've gone away from this early game focus. It's more about what you can do in the mid game unless you're lane swapping. Gambit, it's still about laning phase. In this case here, when you have Cabochard on Hecarim, again, he's running Ignite. He wants that early Trinity Force so he can be powerful in the start of the game. Let's see if Gambit can use it to get the lead and then use that Sivir to really snowball it.
So a lot of pressure going to be on Gambit's decision-making this game. They want to try and stop Fnatic from breaking that win streak record. Can Fnatic go 10-0 here in the summer split? Jump on Twitter and let us know. Hashtag FNC win or hashtag GMB win. The flags are lit up. They're across the bases. Fnatic want to start off the back half of summer with yet another win.
We see another comp here from Fnatic where they're not running directly with any hard engage, but instead they have so much mobility. You're going to have a Janna who's going to get a talisman. You have the gate coming in from Jayce, and that's enough to speed up your team, to send Reignover in to knock someone back, to send Huni in to start the fight. He can always jump back to his ulti as well. And then suddenly that's how Fnatic can play around the map. Gambit on the other side, obviously, is the TP Hecarim and the flash stun from GoSu Pepper here. So we might have a very explosive game once we get into these team fights. GoSu Pepper also starting the boots again. He likes to do it. It makes him a lot weaker in the laning phase. Oh, well, it makes him weaker in the laning phase. But he likes it because it opens up his potential to roam.
Saved his life yesterday.
That's true. That's true. But he likes it for the roaming. And also because he's most likely expecting teams to start swapping against Gambit just because they rely so much on that laning phase. And then suddenly the boots does a lot for him. If he gets a camp at level 1 and he just gets full XP, gets level 2, he can go mid lane. Set up an early gank. Sadly for him, Febiven is running a cleanse, and I really like that against an Annie. That's going to be important later on in the game.
So for Febiven, we'll find out if he can make it. We do see Fnatic have invaded this Janna third time in summer. 0 kills, 0 deaths, 29 assists. As YellowStar is going to get the information from that ward, and we'll see how Fnatic decide to set up their lanes. Got the captain for Fnatic in a good position. Ooh, this is scary.
Don't tell anyone.
GoSu and Febiven. You see the stun is prepped. Gonna move in and steal away these Krugs. What is it going to cost Fnatic? You see Reignover and Huni holding hands, and you can see Diamond with the assistance of Cabo also in the jungle.
So basically here, we mentioned this in Champ Select, how Fnatic took a ranged support for multiple reasons. One of them was the fact that you could then go for that 2v2 lane with the Kalista. They spot Gambit on the top side, move up there, and also they want that one-on-one. Even though it can be a bit tricky for Huni in the start, they trust that he can survive it. He gets his Morellonomicon, he gets towards that ledge bane, and suddenly he starts out-trading Cabochard. And then it's going to be more about what Gambit can do in these big team fights here, where Fnatic suddenly has a bit of a split-pushing threat through Huni.
So, both junglers have swapped jungles for the time being. Reignover in Gambit's half, Diamond in Fnatic's half. And leading at level 2 there for both Rekkles and YellowStar. GoSu still sitting at level 1, and you can see the respect from Febiven and GoSu backing away. But this is what this is what Gambit prefer. They look for those standard lanes. They'll look to see which jungler can have a bigger impact in the games. As we see Diamond may be able to jump onto Febiven if he's spotted.
Yeah, normally this is what Gambit prefers. But in this case here, it's gonna be tricky still against a Kalista Janna lane. Rekkles already playing very aggressive. We can see Febiven falling behind. As we mentioned earlier as well, he won the lane last time, but that was Sivir into an Ezreal. So he didn't really have any competition in that lane. Now, it's very, very different. Gambit will be happy though getting Cabochard also in that solo lane. He's not running Smite, so he wants the laning phase, he wants to rush that Trinity Force. Diamond is already on the bottom side, but it's full HP on Huni.
So we do see this very aggressive push from Fnatic is down on the bottom half of the map, as you've mentioned, Deficio. Diamond did actually back away. We'll touch on the rest of the map in a moment, as Rekkles' KDA is pretty impressive. But, as we said, this is the team that is 9-0. It helps keep your numbers looking ridiculous.
Pretty decent KDA though.
Once upon a time, Deficio held a KDA record.
It was like 5.6.
Those were dark days
it was
in the European LCS.
Very impressive.
Deficio holds the KDA record.
It was also the time when you would play Nami and Sona and just press heal and then run away.
Wasn't Zyra popular back then as well?
He was, but you had to land your skill shots.
Grandpa in the corner here. So, we are actually going to look at some of the other lanes. There are other players in this game. Huni and Cabo. Even in CS, Cabo's got that sustain. Not really under any pressure yet. We did see Reignover briefly move into the river and place a ward. As with many Fnatic games, a little bit of a helping hand from Reignover onto Huni.
Diamond again is in the jungle of Fnatic. He's trying to sneak in behind. Ward, jump over. Let's see what he can do.
Wow, he's jumped in. He's caught YellowStar out. YellowStar's supposed to flash away. Summoner spell secured. Flash and heal for just the exhaust. Advantage Gambit.
And if you look at the bot lane and the mid lane here for Gambit, they've been pushing them into the tower of Fnatic. So it has allowed Diamond, first of all, to move into the bot side jungle. And once he's been in there, place a few wards, maybe clear away a few camps, he gets some information on where Reignover could be, and that opens up his chance to then move into the top side jungle and keep sneaking in behind Fnatic's lanes here. Forced a flash. But that's going to be it for now. They're still losing that top lane pretty hard in the Kalista Sivir.
12 CS there or thereabouts. Down, that is forgiven. As we keep a glance on this middle lane, Betsy and Febiven, both sort of poke-centric champions. And if Febiven takes too much damage, he could be in trouble. He's already got himself that tier. Slowly going to be stacking that one up. We're not expecting too much to happen from this lane except for a misplay or jungler intervention.
Right. The only thing that's going to happen is Betsy can keep pushing it into the tower. He has more tools to clear the waves and also trade where he can hide behind his own minions. His soldiers will always just go in and start hitting Febiven. So he should be able to keep control. And again, that's why a Lee Sin pick suddenly starts shining a bit more, because if you have a winning mid lane, it just opens up so many more ways for you to invade in. You can play more aggressive. You can have these wards in the river that Gambit has just placed now, and you can start clearing out the standard Fnatic wards, because what they always like to do is take over the river completely. That opens up for them to start roaming from the mid lane with both the jungler and, of course, Febiven, and then they can pre-plan plays a lot easier because they're always going to move first, and they're not going to be spotted doing it. But this time around, Gambit has cleared out a few of them, placed the own ward, so it should slow down Fnatic at least a little bit. Now Reignover though, he's going to be spotted moving in behind. There's still 2 flashes for Gambit.
So Gambit do react the moment Reignover came into sight. He should be aware of this. He's not moved just yet. Febiven and GoSu Pepper treading the line. They might be in trouble. Febiven is going to get caught out. Spell shields at least one of the spells, and no summon is blown.
Just want to highlight the position Gambit had here when the gank came in. Notice how it was Febiven who ran close to where Reignover was coming from because he had that spell shield. GoSu Pepper just walked a bit closer to the wall up on the top side, so he didn't have to burn a flash. Spell shield just took care of it. A nice little move from Gambit, reading the situation and making Reignover waste a little bit of time.
And of course, we have to highlight that Gambit are holding themselves even for the time being, despite all the challenges you mentioned regarding the draft and the lane matchups. But Fnatic have actually secured first blood. Oh, that was a little close. Fnatic have secured first blood in 7 of their 9 games. And it's going to be interesting to see where Reignover can impact. Not playing Olaf this time around, it was banned. And Cabo's got the first roam.
Yeah, another room once again. Bot lane has been pushed in from Cabochard. He's looking for Febiven here.
Well, he's going to be able to at least get a knock on before a knock back. Febiven uses that Mercury hammer to boot Cabo away, and Cabo's just going to go back to lane. So, small advantages here for Gambit. Got a CS advantage in the top lane, a little bit down for Forgiven Sivir. He's picked up that pickaxe and Avarice Blade. So going to have that power trough until he gets the BF sword.
Look what Huni's doing though for himself. He knows he's having a hard time in the lane. So he gets very early home guards, which might set up a great play from with teleports. And if he can then try and snowball someone else on his team, or maybe pick up a kill from that, it could really benefit him. Or if he's forced back to base multiple times because he's already been pushed down in his lane, home guard as well can do some work. But it's something he likes to do, and something we quite often see from him. It's a lot about the team play. It's a lot about what you can do as a 5-man unit with your teleports, more than just the individual outplay. That's just an added bonus if you're Huni.
So Deficio, we're about to hit 10 minutes. We've seen lanes being pushed in, but not a massive amount of tower threat yet. And both Reignover and Diamond have been relatively quiet. Diamond has got some flashes though, so he's keeping himself relevant.
And we have 2 junglers now who needs to decide, okay, do we want to play around the strong side of the map first? In this case, Diamond can play around Cabochard in the bot lane or Betsy in the mid lane. Or if you're Reignover, you want to play around the Kalista Janna lane up in the top side because you have an item advantage. You mentioned earlier how Forgiven forced to go Avarice Blade, which means you can keep pushing in that lane and win the 3v3 fights. Or do you want to go down and try and assist some of these lanes who are struggling a little bit, make sure they can catch up in farm? I think for Fnatic's side, if they want to snowball the game, they want to go top here. They want to pressure in these 2 guys.
Yeah, they definitely do. Deficio, if you take a look at the top lane, YellowStar's used both his flash and ignite. We saw Forgiven's heal and exhaust from GoSu Pepper, so there was definitely a trade off camera that we didn't catch. Summoner spells were used. Reignover is in trouble. He gets caught by the Sonic Wave, and Diamond gets knocked backwards. Reignover's going to keep himself alive for a few seconds longer.
That's a TP top lane from Cabochard.
It is C. Let's take a look. Onslaught of Shadows. Cabochard. He's going to pull the trigger this time round. The focus is Rekkles. He's going to get knocked backwards as the Monsoon is a little late to the party. Rekkles will be taken out for first blood as Cabochard does what he couldn't yesterday. Huni has teleported in, but he's trying to run away. Chrono breaks back to base, and YellowStar survives by the skin of his teeth. Diamond wants more. No mana for Reignover. The resonating strike comes through, and the ricochet will bounce the damage across Fnatic. Gambit have 2 kills. The Sonic Wave will not net them a 3rd, and it looks like they get away.
I love the read here from Diamond. We mentioned how Reignover has to make a decision. Do I want to go and try and snowball my top lane? Do I want to try and help Huni down the bottom lane? He went for the top side, and Diamond was there waiting for him. He sat ready. First, he jumps over the Baron wall with the first fight against Reignover, and then still around that top side with Cabochard teleporting in. Gambit suddenly has multiple members. 2 kills, top tower down in a losing lane matchup, by the way. Forgiven has been behind all lane long, and that's where Gambit strikes. Really, really well played.
Well, definitely the case. Cabo gonna get interrupted for a moment. Nothing really gained here for Fnatic. But what a great play. Gambit starting this match off as massive underdogs. Remember, Fnatic undefeated in the first half of the split. 9-0 coming into this game. However, they are only 700 gold down. Those CS advantages in AD carry, a little bit in the mid lane, is actually quite sizable at this stage. And that's with the fact Gambit have a tower as well. So for Gambit, let's see if they can use some of this control to speed up other objectives.
And this early game is really where Gambit still shines. In the last 7 games, where it's been standard lanes, like 2v2, even though if it's top or bottom, doesn't matter. Gambit has gotten the first tower in 6 out of 7 of those games. They got another one here. Pick up the first dragon as well for themselves. So very well played. It's all from Diamond reading and Gambit reading, okay, where is Fnatic going to put the pressure? We expect to be top side. YellowStar had already burned his flash. And then instantly they strike. That was a very aggressive teleport coming in from Cabochard as well. Mid lane, we mentioned how Betsy can keep pushing it down. Febiven can go even in farm, but he can never really push out the Azir. So 2 towers down now for Gambit. They can swap down to this bottom lane. Now Sivir starts shining because the map opens up. She has more things she can do. And Reignover.
Hey, Reignover, he gets knocked away! Betsy was not hoping for the Shurima shuffle to do that. Reignover's going to keep landing those slows with the barrels, but the rise and the conquering sands will give Gambit their 3rd kill. Parallel convergence. Here comes Huni. He's not going to get the stun, but he will get the slow. Time wind is on. Chrono Break will be available in a moment or two, as Huni's going to need it to stay alive. He flashes away. No, I'm lying. The cooldown's much longer. Huni is going to be able to get out clean. And no kill in reply. Only that sun disc from Betsy. And a very, very confident play all across the map here for Gambit.
Love to play from Betsy on the Azir. He's been looking great, honestly, all game long. One is laning phase, sees an opening and goes straight in forward. Gambit, they want to get that BF stolen Forgiven, then they can really start turning on the power, but about 500 gold for that to be available. So he's gonna have to play a little bit passive up until that point, but it's more about what the rest of Gambit can do. Cabochard has a kill now, had that free farm in lane, kept mentioning how Hecarim will win in the start. But then later on, once Ekko starts getting more and more items and Hecarim starts going in towards the tanky route, that's where he suddenly can really trade that effective. But the fact he's going Trinity Force on a full line Ignite is a big bonus for Cabochard in their one-on-one.
So let's see if that Ignite comes to help. Huni's got Chrono Break available this time round. He's going to try get away. Onslaught of Shadows to chase, and Huni's down. Cabochard and Diamond easily winning that fight. Great Tibbers from GoSu. He's going to save his life against Reignover.
And Gambit here, they go from defending the weak lane, Forgiven and GoSu Pepper in the top side, and then punish Fnatic when they made a play, to now switching it over and saying, okay, Cabochard, you're destroying your lane, you're pushing it all the way down. Diamond has been taking over that side of the jungle, he's warded it up, instantly goes in as soon as Huni shows himself. They might be able to get a top tower as well for the tier 2 over there. Fnatic definitely being pressured a lot by Gambit.
I want to go back to what we mentioned in Picks and Bans. The aggressive plays that Gambit can put on the map may be enough to keep Fnatic down. We'll talk about that in a moment. Huni's come in with the phase dive. He's got the time winder out as the parallel convergence should be enough to stun Diamond as well as Cabochard. Huni is going to get a time winder for 1 and a phase dive for 2.
Okay.
You can play strategically all you want. You can play intelligently all you want, but then the Huni factor happens. And Holo is incredible.
Gambit wanted that tower, took some damage, and instantly Huni can punish them, and that's what this player can do. I don't even care what champion he's playing, he's always performing well. Reignover though, down towards the bottom lane.
Gonna get some revenge on GoSu, or try to. Spell shield from Forgiven, and explosive task fizzles. It was one of the less impressive ganks we've seen out of Reignover's Gragas.
Yeah, not a whole lot of follow-up for Rekkles and YellowStar here. Weren't in a position to throw in the Janna, provide any sort of CC. So once again, Gambit, off to a great start. Trinity Force completed for Cabochard. Now he can keep pushing down that lane. Huni with this home guard buy, we talked about how it could work for him if he gets a good teleport off, but obviously it delays his core build otherwise, sitting in that one-on-one lane. Going for the standard full cooldown reduction though on Ekko. And then it's either do you want a team fight
again. Take a look, Huni, he's used phase dive already. One of his dashes, there's no flash available, but he does have that time-delayed hologram. He's going to jump back to it as the parallel convergence throws down in the middle. Time winder for a slow. Now Febiven's joined. Huni is going to jump in with phase dive. We see the hammer come down from Febiven, but he's cut off. The Emperor's Divide locks him back. I'm going to be looking for those accelerated shock blasts, and it looks like Gambit will get themselves another taste of Huni before getting themselves to safety.
Yeah, once again, they look for him, but he's also playing super aggressive. He invaded into the jungle of Gambit here. Got caught out, tried to turn around with Febiven, but they couldn't get the kill instead. Another one for Gambit. A lot of damage on this mid tower though, because nobody's here to defend. Betsy went back to base, and Febiven was sitting in the bottom lane, so Fnatic will be able to take a tower for it.
Gambit want to be the gatekeepers. Gambit want to stop Fnatic from going 10-0 once more. But in order to do that, they need to maintain control of this game. They're even in towers, got an extra dragon in kills, but it's not a lot of gold. The farm advantages for both Febiven and Rekkles, keeping them relevant as far as that itemization in gold is concerned.
Also just the sheer amount of damage we can get from this Fnatic comp here. Huni going towards the Sheen now. Febiven, we have seen this Jayce, what it can do. The new and updated version of him will be even stronger in the late game. Got a bit of extra damage on his shock blast once he hit that rank 6 at level 11. But bot lane here is open. Fnatic, because they just invested everything into the mid lane, and because they lost the pressure in their own jungle due to Gambit doing a very good job setting up the wards, bot tower goes down. Cabochard though, should have recalled way earlier to be up around this top side.
So Rekkles and YellowStar, they're coming. Rekkles is alone, and he's down! Betsy just 1v1s him, and now he's turned his attention onto Febiven. Febiven, however, will be able to use that shape-shifting weapon and even
Look
it
at the
out.
bot lane though, Trevor here. Gambit is still pushing in. They had the wave from before. They still have teleport and Cabochard as well. Fnatic, they're very far away, so 1-for-1 in kills. That's another tower now for Gambit in the bot lane.
Gambit want to play gatekeepers and they want to maintain control. GoSu Pepper, Flash, Exhaust, Tibbers is all available. He's going to throw it onto Reignover. Here comes the rest of Fnatic. Parallel Convergence should be able to stun up too, and it does. Febiven and Huni are onto GoSu as well as Forgiven. He's been dropped. This Cabochard is trying to rampage across the fight. We see the onslaught to Shadows going forward. Huni is picking this fight. He does have that hologram to jump back to. He gets damage onto Cabo as he flashes away. Shield comes up for that Parallel Convergence and no Sonic Wave as he makes it out. 2-for-2 trade. But once again, it's Gambit that just keep playing with Fnatic on the map.
I just love the fact that Gambit keep playing so aggressive here. Every single lane gets pushed in. They keep putting deep wards into the jungle. This is something we've talked about a few weeks now for Gambit, how they place a lot of wards, but it tends to be kind of random all over the map. Don't really have an objective in mind. Now you can see whatever lane they're pressuring, there's multiple wards around it. In this jungle here, Fnatic, they saw everything coming. TP comes in from Cabochard. Gambit, they take the fight. They're fine taking because they already got the bot lane tower, and they believe they can even win this fight here. End up trading even Febiven and his damage, and then also Huni just dancing around his Ekko with full cooldown reduction. Is kind of annoying to deal with. But Gambit doing a great job so far.
For Gambit at 20 minutes, they got around 2,700 gold in the lead. Deficio, that is the largest amount of gold that Fnatic has been down all split long. We heard from GoSu in the pre-game video, if Fnatic do not bring their 100%, he thought they had a chance to win. And GoSu's right so far. 2 dragons up, a tower up, kills up. So the game is in Gambit's, let's say, I don't want to use the word control, but it's at their tempo. However,
Fnatic special though. Early Baron, they place a ping ward, and if they don't expect you to have any wards nearby, they just start it straight away. Cabochard, he's spawning it. Forgiven is down the bottom lane though, so he's not going to be able to join.
Onslaught of Shadows will be up in just a moment or two. Cabo should be able to get in. Baron's going down. Who gets the kill? It's secured by the Rend. Rekkles and Fnatic get Baron at 21 minutes, 10 seconds. What can Forgiven get? He's pushing in the bottom lane, but those empowered recalls will allow Fnatic to get back and defend. And all of a sudden, Fnatic are now back in control.
They do this so often. Play around the top side. They place a ping ward near the Baron and just instantly start it. If you move in to stop them way too early, they know, okay, this is too risky, they just back away. Otherwise, they will secure it here. Forgiven was pushing that bot lane. He didn't expect it. 15 Barons now for Fnatic, and this one was the fastest Baron in the entire EU LCS this split.
I think
it literally just spawned. He was like, hello, I'm Baron, now I'm dead.
A very serious argument could be made that Fnatic have the best Baron calls in the LCS. I see very few teams that use that objective as efficiently or as effectively.
And the worst thing for Gambit, you can see how they were like, oh, Baron is spawned, we have no vision on it, and everyone from Fnatic is gone. We need to rush it right now. But it was already too late because Febiven was already sitting in a bot lane. And that's the whole thing about, you know, planning ahead. Always looking 1 or 2 minutes in the future.
Deficio, Fnatic are now on the siege with that Baron buff. And it's got all the poke from Febiven's Jayce and the wave clear from Gambit. Obviously fairly lengthy with that Azir and Sivir, assuming they don't get poked out.
Also remember, Gambit relies quite a lot on the fact that Cabochard has to be able to TP in from the side with the flank. And then you have that flash tippers, GoSu Pepper, and this massive one. Come on, you can just do it like this.
They're going in. Rekkles has been stunned up and he's taken out. Cabochard's got the first kill as Huni is trying to put damage on the back line. He's already used the chrono break to get away as Betsy has dropped the partner. But that's a double kill from the shock blast as Febiven is trying to save Fnatic's hopes. He's got the hammer out and the hammer's down because Betsy sinks in the fangs. And Gambit end up getting a 4-for-2 trade, and they defend their inner turret against a Baron-empowered Fnatic.
Gambit said we don't need teleport, we don't need Cabochard to flank in, we just pop the Sivir ulti, instant 5-on-5. Fnatic in the end tried to return some damage with him. We're just gonna see the whole thing. Notice here, it's just GoSu Pepper flashing in, flash tippers onto 2 guys. Rekkles is in the front line, so he dies instantly. Now Gambit look to clean it up. Fnatic trying to see if they can turn it around. Febiven is still full HP, beautiful snipe. But then once he jumps in, Betsy denies him, knocks him away. Cabochard as well. And then Gambit ends up taking the fight. Beautiful play, beautiful engage from Edward. Rekkles and Huni got locked down. Rekkles did no damage that fight. Instantly died.
Sorry, excellent start again. Gambit all of a sudden regained control. It was Fnatic with Baron, it was Fnatic with the advantage. You know, you touched on how many Barons they secured. 16 out of their 9 games in total now, Deficio. They've only conceded 2. For the 16 Barons they secured, their opposing teams have only got 2.
But Gambit don't care about your Baron.
No, they definitely don't.
They're just gonna jump you and kill you. Change in the pick and ban for Gambit compared to the last few weeks. See more of what is considered the very strong picks in the meta. Sivir fits so well with a team that likes to go for early towers and then transition that into team fights when you have a fed top laner and a fed AD carry. In this case, he obviously 0-2 for Febiven. He's not exactly fed. He had a hard time in the laning phase, but that doesn't really matter because he's playing Sivir. He's more utility focused now. The fact that Cabochard has 4 kills and the fact that Betsy has 6 kills is exactly what Gambit needs to make this comp work here and to keep taking fights, keep engaging onto Fnatic.
And when you actually look at the gold, despite the fact that Febiven was down that very large CS, he's got around 1,000 gold advantage over Rekkles. 0-2-7. See, all of the work that Gambit had put in early in terms of getting Cabo ahead is paying off. And I think very importantly, in contrast to yesterday's game, Gambit are making decisions to go in. I think their team comp is allowing them to do that a little more. And also the Annie into Kalista already showing better than Taric into Kalista. I'm going to be a little more blunt.
Especially once we get to the big team fights.
Yes, those Tibber stuns, significantly more impressive. So a nice adaptation. Dragon's up in 30 seconds. Gambit have got deep wards, and they're trying to set up control.
And this, again, is another improvement for Gambit. Let's see what happens, though. We can talk about it after Huni. Seeing if he can land a stun. Goes to Pepper, pops the talisman back to it. But this here from Gambit as well. A lot more focus on what is our objective. Okay, that's where we invest all our wards. Oof. This time around, it's near the dragon. Fnatic, though, very quickly cleared it out because now Gambit weren't there to protect them, had to just run away.
Oh! Wow. A bird, bird, bird. Bird is the word. As Febiven shocks Gambit, taking Betsy out.
Just about to talk about the fact here that Gambit left the wards they just placed in the jungle because they weren't all there. They were like trying to push 2 lanes at once while placing the wards, so they disengaged. Betsy took so much damage in the mid lane at first, and then Fnatic got a chance to get back in, and they just keep sniping. Febiven is a monster on this. Remember Xerath in the spring split?
The European sniper is what he was called at the beginning of spring, and GoSu is going to get chunked out. Phase dive from Huni gets the kill. Follow that hologram. Huni can re-engage if he wants to. Diamond is now being caught out. He's trying to put damage onto YellowStar, but it will not be enough. Kill credit to Febiven and that hypercharge. As Fnatic get themselves 2 more and back away. Pepper couldn't even get Tibbers down. That's how quickly Fnatic reacted to him.
It's going to be a 4v5 though. GoSu Pepper wanted to engage there. Super risky play from him. Dragon now for Fnatic, so they stopped the 3-4-5 Dragon strategy for Gambit. That's gone now. At least delayed for another 6 minutes, and also you get that 6% for yourself.
And with those kills, Dragon and Tower, Fnatic with 10 kills on the board, looking closer to get their 10th win in summer. It's all on Febiven's poke so far. When he hits those blasts, Fnatic get objectives.
And it's all on how can Gambit engage the fights. Back when Fnatic had the Baron here, we talked about, oh, they really want to have this TP home guard coming in from the flank, then time that with the flash ulti from GoSu Pepper, and you have a fantastic engage. Didn't need both. Just took GoSu Pepper flashing in. He got Rekkles, he killed him. Now he used flash beforehand. He ends up dying before he could even do anything. That means now it's about Cabochard, and then if GoSu Pepper can run in with the speed from Sivir. But that's going to be a lot harder to then lock down Rekkles, catch him out of position, because there's also the Mikhails here from YellowStar.
Yeah, we saw Cabo in base, those home guards ticking away, looking for somewhere to go in, but GoSu, he's going to need armor soon. One shock blast is melting him, and you actually see YellowStar as well, picking up those captain boots. So even more, oh, look at that again, Betsy chunked out. Right, teleport. Cabo wants to find Rekkles. Rekkles is alone. Cabo's holding the trigger. That's going to be Febiven on the side. Cabo's actually focusing down Febiven. Febiven's been able to flash away, and we see that GoSu Pepper's been dropped. He did manage to get the Tibbers out. Diamond has got so many Ren stacks, and it's not going to pop him, though. We do see Forgiven is going to be on the back line. He's down. Febiven's dashed forward. Febiven found Betsy, and after a messy, messy fight, Gambit lose 4 members. Almost all of them completely split up from one another.
The small mistakes from Gambit, and instantly Fnatic just punish him again and again and again the last few minutes. At first it looked good for Gambit, they won that fight. Then started playing around the Dragon, gave up all the vision on the wards because they weren't there to defend them. Febiven starts sniping them away here, he gets Betsy down. Febiven really is a big hero here for Fnatic. The poke he's landing before every fight is insane.
We're about to hit 30 minutes, and Fnatic now in absolute control of the game. Baron's respawned, super minions down middle. We caught a glimpse there of Daylor, Fnatic's coach. Very serious faces. And here's some of the action that we didn't catch on camera.
All right, let's see, yeah. So we got TP from Cabochard first, then Huni joins in after. But right here, for Gambit is not able to get onto any key targets. It's YellowStar and Reignover, but that's not who you want to engage on. So for Gambit, never really got to use the Annie. Huni destroys Forgiven. They get a nice kill on Rekkles, but that's about it. Because now suddenly, Jayce and Kalista could stay safe in the backline. Gambit needs to have all these powers and combine them if they want to destroy that backline of Fnatic. Otherwise, they can always kite back. Simply out-damage or out-duel the Gambit members.
And when Fnatic managed to find Gambit split up, Huni can just run down whoever he wants at this stage. GoSu, again, massive chunk. All of the armor that's built, there's not enough resistance to put up with the damage that Ekko can put out, or the poke that Febiven's Jayce is putting down.
The thing that happens when you run triple threat comps and you start getting ahead, again, these damage dealers, yeah, you might take out one, but there are 2 other guys who can still win the team fight for a team. I mean, Gambit is somewhat the same with Cabochard on Hecarim, but that's more early to mid-game where his damage is fantastic. Then, because he starts feeling more and more tanky, you know, obviously his damage is going to fall off at least a little bit. And he's not going to be the same threat, but he should be able to buy more time for the rest of the game. But they just have to time the engage here from GoSu Pepper with the ulti from Cabochard. And you got to one-shot either Febiven or Rekkles. Problem is there's a cleanse on one guy, there's a Mikhails for YellowStar to help the other one.
We did see that Huni was trying to push out that bottom wave. No teleport available for a little while for Huni. And oh, the amount of poke that Febiven can put out means Gambit can't even play the Baron bait game, because they'll simply lose. With Baron on one side and Febiven on the other. Huni's used that phase dive, looking for a target. Betsy forced to defend, and Fnatic are just playing around this massive moving turret that is Febiven. Wait!
Well,
Huni, wow! So
that's the thing.
When you see how that happened, but Huni got a kill.
When you play poke, it's just about forcing them so low they have to go back and give up all the control. Diamond here, he's caught behind enemy line.
Diamond's down. That was a rough place to be. Fnatic find themselves 2 kills with no smite threat. They're going to turn their sights to Baron. They've got all the poke from Febiven. They've also got the rend from Rekkles. Huni's running interference.
So, another pick now. You have to respect against Fnatic. There's already 10, 12 other ones, but Jayce as well for Febiven. Yesterday, fantastic. Today, such a solid performance. He's landing every single shock blast over and over, and it's enough to force Gambit so low they have to be careful. Betsy trying to recall, Huni just instantly jumps in, pop his back, and then he gets Q on the way out.
And that was through exhaust as well. There are very few words that we can say that we haven't said about Huni when it comes to talking about his impact in the LCS. All right, Diamond, he's going to land the Sonic Wave, but does not want to click the Lee Syndrome that time around.
This Dragon fight here might be what could be the potential turning point for Gambit. TP is ready soon for Cabochard. Flash is ready. Look at the gold here all game long. Fnatic, decent start. We had that winning top lane for them, or the 2v2 lane. And then Gambit started taking over. They had some great team fights in the mid game. They got to Rekkles, they got to Febiven, killed the back line. But then we just see it. One mistake, Fnatic instantly is going to punish you, lead it into a Baron, and boom, suddenly they get ahead. And oh, the fight is starting.
Yeah, the last time Fnatic were here, the fight didn't end well. This time around, GoSu's down though, and that will end well for Fnatic. We see Huni's come back in. YellowStar's channeling the Monsoon as Cabochard is being focused out by Rekkles. Febiven is on the front line, and Huni is going to use that chrono break all the way back. Reignover bonks the barrel on Betsy, taking him out, and Fnatic get 3 kills in a tower. They should be able to set themselves up for more as soon as those minions come conga lining in.
Red team's inhibitors respawning.
Gambit engage. Has to work, otherwise you lose the fight. We've seen it time and time again. GoSu Pepper didn't manage to connect. Cabochard could join in with a teleport. And Fnatic had to fight for this one.
Gambit were the gatekeepers in 2013.
Not over yet either.
And Gambit are looking like they're going to go down. Super minions pouring through the lanes. Fnatic have got all inhibitors down. They are on the cusp of setting a new European record in a game where they were down at 20 minutes, a larger amount than all previous games this split.
Yeah, really full credit to Gambit and how they played that early to mid game. So much focus on getting down these towers here. Betsy looked very confident in the mid lane. Diamond was reading where Fnatic were going to send the members on the map, and he was able to counter it a few times. So very good start from Gambit. But we just see when you play against Fnatic, again, 1 or 2 mistakes, instantly the game is just turned around. And the individual skill from these Fnatic members, every single one can step up and carry the game. Even YellowStar, as a support, has had games in the past where you're like, MVP, right there. This one here, still has to be Febiven. It's not over 100% yet for Gambit with no flash on Annie. 3 neighbors down. I mean, it's hard to find a case.
It should be.
It should be over.
Unless Fnatic make a monumental error, it should be over. 6 super minions getting closer to the base of Gambit. YellowStar's had 1 death in his 3 Janna games. 3 games. This is looking like it might be the final siege. The poke from Betsy. Poke on towards Betsy, rather. Not gonna land. Huni jumps in. Betsy's gonna use the Emperor's Divide. We do see Huni jumping backwards, and it's GoSu Pepper that gets popped. Well, Diamond's trying to pull aggro, but it won't be enough. After Betsy goes golden, he's in retreat. Super minions are onto the Nexus turret. Reignover's caught Forgiven out, and Forgiven will get popped by Febiven. Fnatic are onto the Nexus, and they set a new European winning streak record, going 10-0 in summer. The first team ever to do it.
Trying to shoot a little bit of hype into the end here, but I mean, if inhibitors down, how well Fnatic's been playing, everyone could see, and even Gambit, they know it. It's not about that last fight. The game is over right here. We have to try something, but it's looking back, you know, what happened 10 minutes ago, where Gambit were in the driving seat. Just had that fantastic engage. Start setting up around that dragon, that's where it goes wrong the first time. Betsy gets sniped out by Febiven, and slowly but surely, always just something missing for Gambit in the last few team fights. And then it was too late in the end.
Very clearly the record keepers, the Shoutcasters, a little more excited in that 10-0, but you could see the look of focus on Fnatic's face. I want to call back to a couple of games a few weeks ago where Fnatic also had some struggles early, and Rekkles was extremely outspoken on social media saying, really disappointed in my performance, really unhappy with that game. This is a team that's gone 10-0, and even after a win where they came back from behind, they're still sitting going, we could have won that better. We could have played.
Right.
You can see it on their eyes. And I think that's a big reason as to why this team is currently undefeated in summer.
Yeah, always looking at what can you improve, and also what's going to be the next important thing. I mean, Fnatic's, of course, already looking at the playoffs. Want to secure that spot at Worlds, preferably the first seed, by winning the entire LCS here in the summer split. That's obviously going to be the focus, and then you look towards Worlds itself and what you can do. So, like, there are still a lot of things that Fnatic probably feel they can keep improving on. Question is, can some of the other LCS teams challenge them enough to really, you know, showcase some of these potential problems that could be for Fnatic? Gambit here had a good start. A lot of other teams, though, have managed to not really show anything, where Fnatic just controls the game from level 1.
Fnatic have found ways in picks and bans to neutralize their opponents. Fnatic have snowballed early leads. Fnatic have played patient. They've played aggressive. Today, they played from the bigger deficit they have. I can't wait to see what these weaknesses are, and somebody's going to have to figure it out. Maybe the guys in the analyst desk can, though, because we're going to take a second